All right, guys, I'm back in the shop working on my camper. I guess I'm gonna be working inside today because it's covered with so much junk. The shop was kind of cleaned out until I emptied all the shit out of my camper. And now it's strewn everywhere. Some of it's gonna go to my storage. This is all materials I'm saving. This is all my extra insulation. Well, I have use for it for part of the interior, like an ice box, you'll see. So it's emptied out right now. I'm working on the interior paneling. I want to get the cab over done because this tends to be a crap catcher during the week. And if I get all the paneling done, then I can just leave a bunch of stuff in here and not have to move it out. So I just test fit my upper section. I'm gonna do it 2 layers thick, just for, this is 1 layer thick over the insulation. It's my bench seating area, although I will have another piece of plywood on the top. So it's not too bad for flex, but I'd like it to be a little bit thicker, just because it's my bed area. And I'm not exactly a small person, I'm about 235 pounds. So this is in 3 pieces here. It lands on the ribs, of course, halfway through. I could not fit one whole piece up here because of my opening. And I had a couple scraps that worked. So this one will be in 3 pieces, and then my top layer will be in 2 pieces with a seam in the middle here. That way my joints are overlapped. It'll be nice and strong, and then this will be covered all the time anyway. I kind of wanted to have 1 piece, but I really would have had to put it in there before I got this roof panel on. I would have been able to slip it in anyway. So it'll be fine. All my joints are overlapped. So I'm going to pull this out. I'm just going to give it a quick vacuum. There's a little bit of debris. And then we're going to glue this section in, and then we're going to cut my top 2 pieces. And I hope they will fit in here. This is 50 inches diagonally. Where's my pencil here? 50 inches diagonally. So I should be able to slip them in and flop them down. I sure hope so anyway. If not, they might be going in 3 pieces as well. Okay, so I'm just going to cut my top pieces for my second layer here. The grain in the 8-foot direction, even though there's 3 pieces here, is running this direction. And as you can see, it's very flexible in that direction. So technically these will be a little bit saggy between the joists here, but there is insulation and glue and they're pretty stiff. I'm going to turn the other ones 90 degrees, so they'll actually be a little bit stiffer in this direction. So we've covered our bases. We're going to run the direction both ways and doubled up. It should be very strong. It's not bad with 1 layer, but when I was kneeling in a couple places, you could hear like I said before, I'm not a terribly small person. So I didn't film this part. You can see the lovely flat plywood I'm working with. Oh, delightful. So I ripped 1 long edge, and then I turned it, and then I cut a straight edge and ripped it rough. So I've got them marked. I have 1 straight edge and 1 perpendicular square edge. So I'm going to rip it, which will actually be the length front to back. And then I'm going to turn it and do my final cut to get my width side to side. Double check our measurement. Trust me, if you're gonna start spreading glue everywhere, you always want to dry fit it. If you find a problem and that stuff's covered in glue, it is a nightmare. So I'm hoping. Oh, praise the Lord! Oh, all right, easy breezy, beautiful, covered good. Okay, that looks like a very nice fit. Yes, I should learn. See, I'm throwing myself off because the grain direction changed. When I used to working with one direction or the other. Okay, so I'm going to glue this piece in. It's probably not even completely necessary. But insurance. That's fine. So let's go around the perimeter. Hit on the joists. Our sheet splits here on this line, so I'm going to keep my glue just to the inside. The back section goes up here. Not a ton of squeeze out, but some. Okay. I was going to originally notch it around this part here, but I'm having it like a transition strip of solid wood. So I figured it'd be easier just to run my plywood there. I can deal with it after, during the finishing process. Okay, that's true. So now, carefully, Mike, not haphazardly. Should be enough at the top here. Along this here. Like I said, this glue probably isn't completely necessary. Should help keep it a little bit stiffer. Running out of glue here. Alright, well. This is going to be getting all painted. As the majority of the walls and things are. I'm going to have some nice feature walls and of course some nice trim elements. But this is almost to cover the mattress, so paint it is. If you're trying to measure into a tight corner sometimes, usually I'll make a mark, like measure 10 inches into the corner and then measure from the opposite wall to that 10-inch mark. So then you add 10 to whatever your measurement here is. So if you're trying to ram your tape in the corner, it's kind of a pain in the ass. If the tape is still bent, you're kind of guessing at the actual measurement. So this piece I cut to 20 inches because I've got to determine, if you can see this on this camera here. This wall is curved, so my bottom and my top measurements are obviously going to be different. So into this corner, I have 23.5. So my total measurement is 43.5. Now the top is slightly trickier because I've got to hold this piece up here. you can always just make a mark. We are 26 7/16. So I will probably call that, so it'll be 46. See, I forgot to add my 20. Anyway, so either measuring back from the corner or using a little stick can help you get an accurate measurement in the corners. Okay, so I'm going to trim these pieces up for my angled side pieces in my cab over. They are not very straight, but this sheet was the worst one I had left. And so I'm trying to cut some smaller pieces out of it. Oh, it's lovely to work with. Anyway, all be fine when I'm done. It does cause a few problems when you're trying to get super accurate cuts, but I'm leaving these a 1/16 short maybe, and I'm going to caulk all the corners, so don't want to be sloppy, but leave a little bit of room. So yeah, I'm going to rip these to their final width, which will be the height, square one end, and then I'm going to mark my angles, making sure I do a left and a right mirrored image. Okay, so I ripped my pieces parallel. I squared both ends and cut them to 46 3/8, which is my longest dimension. So it would be the longest point. And then I just measured over to the shortest point, and I used the actual other piece just to strike a line. So we're going to cut that off. Don't mind all the scraps down there. One thing I want to do is when I put my paneling on, I cut these openings a little bit bigger. I'm going to put some strips of oak in here. Just hang them past this a little bit, so it's just a tiny lip. It's just more durable. The stuff's going in and out. It'll be a little bit more durable than just pine. So I'm going to do it over here, and then on this section too. So I'm just going to mill up. I've got some oak scraps that were leftovers. Taking a couple passes, smooth up one edge, and I've got to rip these to width, and probably a couple more passes. Square. Okay, so I got these little openings trimmed out. I'm just going to do a little bit of sanding. I did knock these edges over, but I'll have to go over it again once I sand this. I had a ripping blade in, and it was like just freshly sharpened, but it's a little bit of vibration in this oak. Leave some saw tracks. We'll just clean that up a little bit. So yeah, that one is done as well. I should have, there was a little piece behind it that needed actually to be scraped down with a cabinet scraper probably first. So it sticks out a little tiny bit. So we'll sand that down some, and it's going to be trimmed out. And if there's a little tiny gap on the side of the trim, I'm probably going to caulk it anyway after I prime it. So that will be fine. So it'll be a little bit tougher for stuff coming in and out. So, you know, looks pretty tough. This is where my bench seat is going to be. So I will have my, it'll be maybe 3/4 inch, maybe, or at least 1/2 inch plywood covering this. So I will just place it like that, and that way that will leave me a lip for my lid that's going to fit in here. Whether that'll just be pulled out or if it'll be hinged, I'm not sure yet. At any rate, I have to make sure it's not going to rattle around, maybe some magnets to hold it in place. Same thing with this one. That'll be trimmed out and there'll be a door, and I'll have a nice rubber gasket seal there. So that's about it. It's almost 7:30 on Sunday night. I'm going to call it for today. Just going to tidy up and pack a bunch of stuff up here. I still got to reroute all my windows. This panel is cut. Insulation is cut. I've got to frame a little spot there I never got to. So yeah, I want to frame this out, panel all this, and then just got to panel this back section. Just a little bit up front, route my window holes, and then we can start. There's a closet to frame, my propane storage, my counter, my fridge sort of area. There's going to be a frame across here while my water storage is there. I'll make the bench seat, trim all this out. Lots of fun stuff, some shelves up there, upper cabinets. Yeah, so the inside is coming along nicely. The outside's covered, so I've got to do all my trim out my windows, and also get my roof on. That waterproofed and it trimmed out. So quite a bit of stuff to do, but it's coming along, folks. My first day as the chicken wrangler. Come on, guys, let's go. Come on, guys, let's go. Come on. Come on. Let's go.